Hi guys, today as a continuation of the neural system, let us talk about the meninges of the brain. So what do you mean by meninges? Brain coverings. There are three layers covering the brain. One, DURAMATER, middle arachnoid matter, and inner PIAMATER. So there are three layers called as the meninges of the brain. Suppose if the meninges or the cover of the brain is infected with virus, or it is infected, that is called as the meningitis. Clinically it is called as the meningitis. Now let us take up the meninges. You can see the diagram here. It is the cranium, outermost part of the cranium, skull, and then it is the dura mater. You can see this is dura mater, and this is PIAMATER, and the middle arachnoid matter. So there will be three layers: outer dura mater, middle arachnoid matter, and inner PIAMATER. So dura mater is towards the skull or cranium, and PIAMATER is towards the brain. You get some spaces in between. The space in between the cranium and the dura mater is called as the epidural space. Epidural space. The space between the dura mater and the arachnoid matter is called as the subdural space. In between the arachnoid matter and PIAMATER, you get the subarachnoid space. So based on this space, as I say space, you should not imagine a big space here, because the total distance between the cranium and the brain itself is 0.4 to 6.7 millimeter. That is the range of the size, the space between the cranium and the brain. So there will be the space. If I say it's a space, it's a potential space, thin layer of space. So based on the space, you get hemorrhages. When you get the brain injury, when this epidural space is affected, that is called as the epidural hemorrhage. And when this subdural space is affected, that is called as the subdural hemorrhage. Likewise, when this subarachnoid space is affected, that is called as the subarachnoid hemorrhage. Each one has its own effect. That is clinically. That is different. So, dura mater, arachnoid matter, and PIAMATER. In between dura mater and in between the cranium and the dura mater, epidural space. In between the dura mater and arachnoid space, that is subdural space. In between arachnoid membrane and the PIAMATER, it is subarachnoid space. This epidural space and subdural space are filled with fatty connective tissue. Whereas this subarachnoid space is filled up with the CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. So you can see the clear diagram here. Let us take up one by one. First, dura mater. I told you it is the outermost layer. Dura means thick, matter means mother. Thick, tough mother. So tough, outermost, fibrous, collagenous layer. Very important, it is not vascular. It is non-vascularized. There will be no blood vessels in the dura mater. And then This DURAMATER is inserted into the periosteum of cranium, that is inbuilt, that is inserted into the periosteum of the cranium. The DURAMATER is inserted into the periosteum of the cranium. Actually, this DURAMATER is a sac that envelops the arachnoid matter. The sac enveloping the arachnoid matter and supports large dural sinuses, the blood vessels. This DURAMATER supports the large dural sinuses which carry blood from brain to heart. So the dural sinuses carry blood from brain to heart, that is supported by this DURAMATER. If you take the DURAMATER, it has got 4 infoldings. One, the flex cerebri. Flex cerebri, that is the largest infolding, sickle shaped. This flex cerebri separates the cerebral hemispheres. So flex cerebri is the largest infolding, shape is sickle shaped, and then it separates the cerebral hemispheres. Then number 2, tentorium cerebelli, that is the second largest infolding, that is crescent shaped. It separates the occipital lobe from cerebellum. It separates the occipital lobe from the cerebellum. Third infolding is the flax cerebelli. Flax cerebelli. It separates the cerebellar cortex. Number 4, diaphragma cellae, that is the smallest infolding that covers the pituitary gland. So I repeat, there are 4 infoldings of the DURAMATER. Outermost largest sickle shaped infolding is flax cerebri that separates cerebral hemispheres. Second one, tentorium cerebelli, second largest infolding, a crescent shaped infolding that separates occipital lobe from the cerebellum. Number 3, flax cerebelli, that is the vertical infolding. Vertical infolding that separates the cerebellar cortex. Fourth one is the diaphragma cellae, that is the smallest infolding, innermost infolding that covers the pituitary gland. So this is about the DURAMATER, tough mother. Then coming to next, the arachnoid matter, second middle layer, arachnoid matter, that is web-like, spider-like. You can see here, it's a web-like, spider-like arachnoid matter. Spider mother is actually a barrier layer with highly packed cells, no intercellular space, highly packed cells, and it's a barrier layer. There will be no extracellular collagen as you see in DURAMATER. In arachnoid matter, there is no extracellular collagen. So it is a barrier between cerebrospinal fluid and the arachnoid space and the blood circulation in the DURAMATER. So it forms a barrier between the cerebrospinal fluid and the arachnoid space, and also the blood circulation in the DURAMATER. This is about the arachnoid matter. And finally, we are coming to PIAMATER. Pia means innermost, inner matter. Pia or softer, soft mother. PIAMATER is also called as the soft mother. Actually, it is towards the brain. It covers the brain. It is covered on its outer side So if you take the PIAMATER, on the outer side of the PIAMATER, it is covered by a sheet of flat cells that is impermeable to fluids. So the outer side of the PIAMATER is covered with a sheet of cells, flat cells, that is impermeable to fluids. Very important, this PIAMATER is highly vascular. More blood vessels you can see in the PIAMATER in association with the brain. So it is pierced by blood vessels to the brain and spinal cord. So it is pierced by the blood vessels to the brain and spinal cord. Actually, its capillaries, the capillaries of the PIAMATER nourish the brain. So the capillaries of the PIAMATER nourishes the brain. So this is about the DURAMATER, ARACHNOID matter and PIAMATER. And finally, the functions of the meninges. Number one, it is protective in nature. It gives protection to the brain and spinal cord from injury. Number two, it provides blood supply to the brain and spinal cord. That's why if some hemorrhage takes place in the epidural hemorrhage, subdural hemorrhage and subarachnoid hemorrhage, the brain is affected. So it gives blood supply, it provides blood supply to the brain and spinal cord. It also provides space for the flow of cerebrospinal fluid. So actually the cerebrospinal fluid flows in between the PIAMATER and arachnoid matter in the subarachnoid space. So the CSF flows here. It allows space, it provides space for the flow of the cerebrospinal fluid to the brain and spinal cord, from which the brain and spinal cord gets the food supply. So these are all about the meninges. To summarize, first layer DURAMATER, middle layer arachnoid matter, outer DURAMATER, outer tough arachnoid matter, middle web-like, spider-like layer, inner PIAMATER, soft layer, mostly vascular. DURAMATER is not vascular. And then the spaces, epidural space between skull, cranium and DURAMATER, subdural space between DURAMATER and arachnoid membrane, subarachnoid space in between arachnoid matter and PIAMATER. The epidural space and subdural space are filled with fatty connective tissue, whereas this subarachnoid space is filled with cerebrospinal fluid. So the functions I told you: protection, providing blood supply and providing space for the flow of cerebrospinal fluid. So with which we finish the topic on the meninges. Thank you very much.